So we just chatted about allergies, and of course, our fur babies are in our lives. We love them. They are our pillars, and we have to chat through some of the stages of their beautiful lives, including cats and dogs. Let's take a peek.
For over 50 years, Royal Canin has developed a deep understanding of the needs of cats and dogs, making it possible for them to produce the world's most precise pet health nutrition. I've seen it proven now, and making it even easier for us to provide a balanced diet for our beloved pets, no matter what stage of life they're in. And joining us this morning is our Pet Health Series Specialist, Royal Canin's resident veterinarian, Dr. Debbie Bain, to take us through those life stages of a cat and a dog and their evolving dietary needs, because things do change, just like for humans. It's amazing how often I start comparing my own nutritional journey with that of my pets, but this is what we need to do. Dogs and cats are very different, but they both go through their own particular life stages. So maybe you can kind of talk us through those with dogs and cats respectively, and how their diets, the impact on their diets changes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's a really big topic. So I will do my best to consolidate as much as I can, but I probably could go on for hours. Look, there are three basic life stages in our dogs and our cats. And the first one is when they're puppies and kittens and they're growing. The next is when they become adults, and then finally the last stage is when they become seniors. So we're going to start off with dogs because they're a little bit more complicated in the sense that, you know, you can get a 4 kg Maltese and a 80 kg Great Dane. So the nutritional requirements just with them alone are very, very different. Our mini breed, our mini breeds, they are up to an adult body mass of 10 kgs.
Okay.
And they actually become adults at 10 months of age. That's when we can move them to an adult food.
Oh, wow.
And that's because research and science has shown us that that's when their growth plates close and they've stopped growing.
Okay.
They also have much longer lifespans than our larger breed dogs, which is, I mean, that's great that they have a longer lifespan. It's very unfortunate that our larger breed dogs don't. But unfortunately, that's the way that it is. So they'll remain on an adult food probably up until about 12 years of age, unless they develop
have a reason to change the diet.
Exactly. Okay. And then they'll move on to a senior diet. So those are our small breed dogs. Then we have our medium breed dogs, which go up to 25 kgs adult body mass. They actually stop growing at 1 year of age, so we can move them over to adult. And then they become seniors at 7. So you can see how it actually starts to come down.
It's a scale, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the maxi breeds, they stay on puppy until they are 15 months, because that's how long it takes for them to reach their adult body mass. And ultimately, then they move on to senior food from 5 years. And then giant breeds, which are over 45 kgs, they stay on puppy food up until 2 years, because that's how long it takes.
They just keep growing.
Absolutely. And an important thing to note, especially with our puppies, is, and any dog or cat really, is that your animal is genetically designed to get as big as it's going to get. Feeding it more, feeding it quicker, like trying to get them to grow faster is not actually what you want. We want them to grow slow, we want them to grow steady, so that their bones can develop and that all of their organs can develop properly.
Just like with a human child.
Absolutely. We don't want them to grow too quickly. But following the feeding guidelines on the back of the pack is exceptionally important, because we don't want to be overfeeding them, because too much energy can cause them to grow too quickly. Puppies and kittens actually absorb calcium differently to adults. And we know how important calcium is for bone development. So the amount of calcium and phosphorus, the ratio in the food, needs to be exactly precise for our growing animals, so that they don't have too much calcium or too little, because they can both lead to bone and growth deformities, which is something that we obviously want to avoid at all costs. And if you have your animal on a balanced diet, there is no need to be supplementing them, especially with calcium. Please don't supplement your animals with anything, especially when they're puppies. And
how this brings to bear 50 years of compound scientific research. I love the fact that we are leaning on all of that history and that research and understanding. All of this being said, though, how do we transition through those phases? How do we transition into a new diet with our pets?
Well, any transition, even if you're staying within the same brand, should happen quite slowly.
Okay.
So cats, for example, I don't want to say all cats, but most cats actually end up being between 3 to 5 kgs, and they will transition over into an adult food at 12 months, so 1 year of age. And you want that to be at least a week transitioning from their kitten food to their adult food, and that's the same for dogs as well. So you do a quarter of the new food, 3/4 of the old food for 2 days, then it's half-half, and until you over to your full amount. The difference is because there are slight differences in the prebiotics and the levels of nutrients, levels of proteins. So we just need those bodies to get a chance to get used to it.
System, sure.
Absolutely. We don't want to disrupt the microbiome in the gastrointestinal tract.
And we know with dogs, it is quite finely balanced as well. I think that's why they're so susceptible to gastrointestinal issues and things like that, certainly in my experience. This is going to sound like the dumbest question ever, but now that I've got you sitting here, what is the difference between wet and dry food?
Besides for the obvious.
Besides the wet and dry element.
So wet food, I mean, it can be in pouches, it can be in tins. Wet food is 80% moisture. Dry food is about 8% moisture. So we advise actually doing a mixture of both wet and dry feeding because they both have benefits.
Intrinsic value, okay.
Absolutely. So like your dry food, it's obviously a more concentrated way of getting your nutrients in. If you were only going to feed the wet equivalent, you would have to feed a lot more just because most of it's so diluted, the calorie content. Dry food is very important for our animals to chew because that helps to mechanically clean their teeth. Very few people are brushing their animals' teeth every day. So the kibble actually helps to scrape those teeth
break
and to
that
clean
tartar
them.
down. Cool.
Absolutely. It's also coated in something that binds to the calcium of the saliva, which also helps to actually reduce the buildup of tartar. But then our wet food is fantastic because it's so high in moisture, it actually helps to flush out the bladder because they're ultimately taking in extra moisture and then urinating more frequently. So there are definitely benefits to both. Wet food tends to be more palatable, and that's because wet food smells stronger, and that's their first
And dogs are triggered by that.
I get that.
Absolutely. Let's talk about dogs specifically, because I've got a Dachshund that will melt you with a look. He just looks at you and you're like, I'll give him my car, I will do anything. So how then do I deal with a pet like that, who presents like he is always hungry, but I know he surely can't be, and is definitely taking a chance? How do we deal with those eyes?
You know, if you're having a struggle in that sense with begging, instead of rewarding with food, reward them with something else. Go and take them for a walk, do something else with them. We're so used to rewarding with food, with both humans and animals, but we can give them something else instead. And ultimately, if your animal is losing weight, then maybe it's not getting everything that it needs, and that diet needs to be reassessed and looked at.
But look, there are a scary amount of obese pets out there. So we've got to watch ourselves as much as we are watching our pets. Love this one. Thank you so much. Cannot wait for next week. We all know that a delicious, nutritious meal can make all the difference, and it is no different for our pets. So make sure that you're providing them with the best nutrition possible. And if you need more information on what to feed your specific dog or cat according to what stage of life they're in, the Royal Canin website is a treasure trove of useful guides and resources, so please go and check them out at royalcanin.com. Thank you so much for joining us, and of course next week we do it all over again.
Royal Canin, making a better world for pets through precise and tailored health through nutrition.